Good evening, everybody. Welcome to LFC Daytrippers. This is your Red Sea full-time show. We are going to be reacting to Norwich 0, Liverpool 3, 3 points, 3 goals. We can't wait to talk about this one. Let's get it started. Evening, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Tiago's father with me, straight fresh off the watch along on the Red Sea podcast channel. So if you didn't catch it, if you haven't subscribed, go and check us out, the Red Sea podcast on YouTube. Fantastic watch along. Our very first one, James, you did an absolutely fantastic job, mate. So I enjoyed watching it. What did you make of the game?
The game was absolutely fantastic. It was a bit difficult in the first half, but just before I get into the game, guys, in the comments, just a quick word from me. Guys, keep safe. Honestly, keep safe. This COVID-19 is still raging. Keep safe, yeah? Honestly, I can't give that news and that kind of advice as best as I possibly can. Get fit, get healthy, use whatever method, vitamin C, whatever you need to try and stay healthy. Please, please, please do it, because I want to see all of you guys here for the course of the season, liking, subscribing, smashing the comments for the Red Sea podcast, smashing the comments for the LFC Daytrippers. Guys, everyone in the comments, I love you all because you've come and you've shown us massive support as soon as you jumped on the Daytrippers. But just that little bit of advice to me, and if you're not a believer in this virus, I can assure you guys it is incredibly real. Now, I appreciate that some people might not be keen on the vaccine. I'm not either. I haven't personally been vaccinated, but whatever you need to do personally to stay safe, please, please, please do it. Massive, massive plea from me. Stay safe, because I want to see every single one of you follow us right through the season and forevermore. But anyway, we've got a game of football to talk about. Liverpool Football Club returned to action in the Premier League today, and the first half was probably filled with me on the watch along of a massive rant about Naby Keita. He frustrates the life out of me. The second half was better. It was better, I can't lie. But I want to see more from Naby Keita. I want to see more. Yeah, because he's in an incredibly privileged position to wear the red of Liverpool. As I said on the watch along over at the Red Sea podcast, Manchester City are a fantastic team that's been assembled by a world-class ownership group. Their ownership group is world-class. Yeah. Chelsea, again, are a fantastic team that have been assembled by a world-class ownership group. But they are not a big club. Liverpool Football Club is a huge club. With respect to the fans in here tonight, Liverpool Football Club is a huge, huge club. Same as Manchester United. They're a big club. We are the two biggest clubs in the Premier League, if not one of the two biggest clubs in world football. So if you get the opportunity to put on the red of Liverpool Football Club, you have to give it your all. And I'm not seeing that from Naby Keita. I'm just not seeing it. Might be a bit overreacting after 45 minutes of football, but I need to see more.
No, he's on his last chance saloon, and me and yourself, we were speaking in the watch along, yourself live, myself in the comments, and it's what a massive opportunity for Ox and for Keita. Thiago, Henderson, and Fabinho all missing from the starting 11. The two of those three might not even be back for Burnley, so they've got a couple, maybe even 3 games to absolutely stake a claim and say, do you know what, guys? All right, we've both been here 3 years, 4 years, but I want this first team position, and neither of them did that for me. I think Ox was buzzing about a little bit more in the first half. A few chances fell his way, a few more touches, but I agree. Naby Keita, it was honestly, if he was trying to find a position where he would just have no interaction with the ball. He thinks, oh, that's that kind of shadow over there looks quite dark. I'll go and stand over there so I don't have to get involved. And to see that kind of non-self-belief and non-interest from a player that's, as you mentioned, got the privilege of putting on the red shirt, the most famous red shirt in world football, and he does not want to give his all, and he's almost a bit timid, a bit scared to get an injury. I don't know if he's lost self-belief, but that first 45 minutes from Keita was actually one of the worst I've ever seen him deliver. And how he lasted to the 80th minute, I'm really not sure. Me and yourself were calling for Fabinho and for Harvey Elliott to come on as well. And Keita was the last one to come off. But I completely agree with you. Obviously, we'll get more into the game and the positive side of things. But obviously, we took a 1-0 lead into half times, but it wasn't absolutely catastrophic. Diogo Jota getting that goal. Mo Salah with a kind of an assist. I'm sure he'll be credited with it in the Fantasy Premier League world. But Diogo Jota steered it home. Similar goal to what he scored at the weekend in the friendly games at Anfield as well. So he's off the mark. With Liverpool 1-0 up. But I think, there's absolutely changes to be made to this team going forward against better opposition.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. There's some interesting comments in here, especially from the one from Kev O'Sullivan here as well. Thought that Naby and Ox counter-pressing was excellent. Kept winning it back. Both were very industrious. Kev, a lot of love to you, man, but I don't know what 45 minutes you were watching, pal. Ox was decent. He was trying to get in amongst it. He was winning the ball, counter-pressing, active, really, really busy. Naby Keita was marking the goalpost. I'm sorry. I can't lie. I can't sit and dress it up. He was nowhere near where he needs to be.
But still the excuses come from Daddy Pig for him. Still the excuses are there.
Yeah.
He's just a £60 million footballer. He's a £60 million player. You can't say he wasn't in a good midfield. That's James Milner and Oxlade-Chamberlain, 2 full England internationals. There's no more excuses anymore. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's got to the point now where how often can this keep on happening? How often can it keep on going? And there's some comments in there saying first game of the season, Ox Naby starting, probably our worst midfield combo. Everyone is a critic. Guys, look, I'm sorry. I've watched a lot of Liverpool football and I expect the best. I'm sorry. Okay, let's play devil's advocate. Thiago's fit, Henderson's fit, Fabinho's fit. Does Naby get anywhere near that midfield? Does he even challenge for a starting spot in that midfield? Does he even challenge? Let's not forget he's a player that was hooked at half-time at Real Madrid. He was hooked at half-time. Klopp was generous today. He was generous. Kev O'Sullivan, big shout out to you as well. I was happy enough with the midfield, got to be honest. The reason why you were happy, Kev, is because we got the result. If we walked out of the 1-1 draw, you'd be saying the same thing as I want. The result has masked his performance. Don't get me wrong, he was brighter in the second half. But the bit that was unforgivable for me was the one-on-one situation which Kostas Tsimikas found himself in at the byline. Naby Keita allowed the player to ghost off him and double up on Kostas Tsimikas. The cross goes into the box. Luckily, it was Pukki going up for the header against 3 Liverpool defenders. If there was an overload in that box, that's a goal. All because Naby Keita was too lazy to track the runner. I'm sorry, I've had enough.
No, that's fine. We could talk about Naby all night, but I'm going to ask you more about the team, mate. That first half performance, what did you make of it? I felt that the first 20, 25 minutes, Norwich got a lot of the ball, more than I would have hoped they would have done. They were dominating. Every time we got the ball back, we seemed to be trying to force it. We keep trying to be hitting that long ball, trying to get that first perfect ball into the front three without really working it through the midfield. Whether that's because they're not trusting that midfield three to do the usual business of the first choice. But it just felt so forced and rushed. And every time we got the ball, we'd have it back for 3 seconds. We'd give it back to Norwich. And again, they'd build and come at us. And I agree. You know, guys, we're brilliant. We're ecstatic. We've got a 3-0 victory. But me and James, Liverpool should be beating Norwich 3-0. This isn't like, oh, wow, well done. This is a fantastic result. This is Norwich. They're going to come 20th in the league. They're going to lose 25 matches this Premier League season. This is expected. Yeah. We're going to be looking at every little bit and piece. This is what Red Sea full-time is going to be, guys. So we're going to be looking at every little angle because we expect to be going on and winning the Champions League and the Premier League. This is bread and butter stuff. Yeah. So to see us struggling through the first half, plodding along, it's the first game of the season, absolutely. But we came through, we got 1-0. And as much as I didn't rate Keita or Ox, I think the team overall, lots of players coming back. Matip and Van Dijk haven't played for a while. So overall, fairly pleased with the first half. 1-0, we grew into the game. Second half, James, talk to me. Much, much better, right?
Yeah, first half, like I said, bumbled through it, but we got in with a 1-0 lead in the first half. Second half, a lot better. Naby Keita actually started picking up the positions which I would expect him to pick up in between the midfield two, ready to receive the ball, playing in and out, looking as an option rather than being stationary or pedestrian in the midfield. He actually was bright with his movement. What that allowed the team to do was for the inside forwards to get forward, and when Firmino came on, to drop in, and the combination play started to happen. And that's what I would expect Naby to be doing in that midfield. Yeah. Very, very similar to what Ginny used to do, get the ball, look for a combination, and the ball used to be punched forward at pace to allow our attackers to actually get in behind the Norwich defence. A good addition as well, bringing Fabinho onto the pitch was absolutely fantastic, because what that allowed the back four to do was press a little bit higher. We haven't seen that, especially since last season with the injuries that we had. Virgil van Dijk looking like the Colossus that he was, and actually stepping a lot higher up on the pitch as well, allowing the team to play. There's a great comment in here from, so what's it here? The Carrow Years, is that what it is? Carrow Years?
Yeah, this one,
What's that one? Milner did struggle. Yeah, Milner did struggle to get there. Fab walked in and we looked settled. Yeah, true. Though love to Millie on there. Yeah, do you know what?
Milner smacked Mikas and said, "Wake up, come on, Costas."
Yeah, exactly. But Milner's there for his leadership skills. We obviously know that Milner's not at the peak of his powers anymore. He's still super fit for a player, but you can see that sometimes he was second to the ball. And I don't expect James Milner. Yeah, I don't expect James Milner to be a fixture in the in for the season going forward. There's a great comment here from Joshua as well. By the way, lads, we won first game. Let's be upbeat. Josh, let's be clear. I am super, super happy. And if you're able to lock in for the watch along over at the Red Sea podcast, I'm more than happy. What a great win on the first day, 3-0. It's a big statement. It's a big statement of intent.
I mean, it's more than Arsenal could do away to a newly promoted team, isn't it? We saw them falter, but let's get onto some more positive stuff then. I mean, you say that the Firmino sub changed things. He came on, he gets the goal, that counter attack. He finds Mane. Yeah. Mane, it works its way to Salah, looks up. Bobby's free as a bird in the box, and again, Jota's and Firmino's finishes were both probably savable. I think Tim Krul, it was right next to his leg on both occasions. He could have really done more, but I look at that Norwich defence on paper, and it's a championship team. So, as much as I want to get like, oh, yeah, we're amazing, the front three is back, it's Norwich City, guys. Like, if they were in the championship this season, they would be in and around the top 2-3 in that league. And that's where they'll be next season. So I don't want to be all like, yeah, this is amazing, because we might not win next week and the week after. But no, looking at the positive side, a great counter-attack. Firmino came on and he definitely changed the game, and was actually your man of the match, wasn't he, controversially?
Yeah, I just think when he came on, it kind of like made the team wake up.
Yeah.
He started to make things tick. That nice little run he makes through the middle to actually be an option and receive the ball. That's what we were lacking. Jota, on the other hand, and this is no disrespect to Jota, Jota was good. Like, we look at the runs he was making. He was aggressive. He was trying to get on the end of things. He was trying to work. The work rate of Jota was sensational. But as soon as Firmino came on, we looked a little bit more settled. We obviously saw the two Brazilians come on together. Fabinho steps into the midfield, and it looks like we start to take control and dominate the game. And guys, look, like my co-host said as well, we're here to be critical. We're also here to praise when we need to praise. But we can't escape from the fact that we played Norwich on the opening day of the season. We're expecting 3 points. Guys, don't forget, we're Liverpool Football Club. Do not let last season's kind of struggles, obviously due to the injury, like dim your light and make you think that these performances from certain individuals are unacceptable. I'm sorry. I just can't sit here and not single out and call out poor performances from players that have been at the club for 4 years and played 3, and we paid £60 million for.
Oh, James, I'm just not going to accept it anymore. We're getting back in a moment. Oh, we're here. Sorry, I think it might have been me.
It might have been you.
Crack on, mate. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, like, I just think that we need to start delving into the detail on Naby Keita a little bit more, and let's stop masking the performances. But like I said, we don't want to labour the point. There's a great comment in here as well from a few people. Chris, Milner role this season. There you go. Milner role this season will be as an impact sub to close out games. I agree with you. Like Man United used with Ryan Giggs. Yep, today was about picking the lads with the most pre-season minutes. I totally agree.
I did say, didn't I? I said in the Red Sea podcast, Liverpool Norwich preview last night, that my midfield would be Naby, Keita, Ox, and Milner. Not necessarily what I would choose, but my prediction for what Jurgen would choose based on the minutes. But it was a really good. When Firmino and Fabinho came on, it looked like Liverpool, didn't it? It looked like Liverpool we know and love.
Yes,
the shape was back. We had Alisson. All right, Robertson wasn't there, but you had Van Dijk and Matip. You had Fabinho. You had Firmino dropping into that false nine. And he had Salah and Mane on either wing. And we've not really had that combination for a while. All those players on the pitch that we've just seen, we've not seen that for about a year. All of those key players on at the same time. And, James Milner, he can come in and do a job. You've got to remember that the first choice 3 midfielders did not start this game. 1 came on, 2 are a little bit far off coming in. But to be honest, in terms of finishing off with Naby Keita and Ox, Harvey Elliott is knocking on that fifth choice door about, hang on a minute, guys, I'm going to jump you in the pecking order. And I think he'll be getting his chance if Ox and Keita don't step on that. But it was good to see Firmino drop in. I think Jota and Firmino play the number 9 slightly differently. I don't think Jota is a false 9. I think Jota is more a winger / converted into a striker. He's going to be on the last man. He's going to rely on his pace. He's going to try and beat the offside trap, and he's going to want to get one-on-one with the goalie, whereas Firmino drops in, and that's where we see the best of Mane, Salah, and that's where the goal came from. All 3 linked up together, all hopefully hitting form at the same time. And that was 2-0. But Mo Salah is my man of the match, mate. 2 assists, 1 goal. What a finish that was to round off a fantastic result.
Oh, sensational finish. And you just see him get it out of his feet and leave Tim Krul with no chance, really. He's almost disguised the finish around the defender as well, meaning that Tim Krul is not going to be able to see it. And it's a great comment from Josh as well. It was a typical Fabinho letting us play 10 yards higher up. He's just world class, and I totally agree with you. One of the best centre backs in the league, best centre defender midfielders in the league, if not the best in the world, or one of the best in the world. How many people play the position like he plays it? And no, you wouldn't. If you cast your mind back when we signed him, there was rumours knocking around that we were going to get Fred, and then we've ended up with him. And some people were going, "Oh, but look, he's come in and he's been absolutely fantastic." Oliver in the comments as well. Krul was horrible. Maybe you should stick to penalty cameo appearances, because that's obviously a specialty.
It's a good comment here from Chris as well, though, because I'm going to the Burnley game next weekend. He expects Fabinho to start. I think that makes sense. I think he comes back in. I'm not sure which one of the midfield 3 that started today would drop out for him, because we did see Milner start in the 6, but move almost into the old Dini position to the left-hand side of that midfield 3. Yeah. And will Henderson and Thiago be back on the bench for that game? Also, Curtis Jones as well, having picked up concussion in pre-season as well. So there's, like you said, James, there's a lot of options in there. And if Ox and Keita aren't doing it, there's a lot of people that will. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'll be live at Anfield for the game next weekend, and I'll be dropping the team news and giving my live reaction. But it's going to be an interesting one. There's lots of options, and that's not something we've said very often for Liverpool. But just rounding off the actual game itself, mate, I just wanted to ask you, goalkeeper to goalkeeper union, that save from Alisson, that triple save from Alisson at the end, you celebrated that on the watch along like a goal. You were absolutely so happy about that save. Talk me through that. How is that just reaction? Is that just world-class positioning? How do you do that?
That is years and years of training. Goalkeepers train those reactions. It's not something that you just do instinctively. You're looking and you're studying what's happening with the play. You're looking for the moment that the striker makes his move. Too soon, you get it dinked over you. Too late, you get it slipped past you. Yeah. It's phenomenal goalkeeping. And it's something that we have seen before. It's not new. We saw it in the Porto game. Similar style save. It's not something new. He does it week in, week out. Napoli, we saw it in the Napoli game. He does it week in, week out. This isn't something new from Alisson Becker. I'm sorry. And if anybody wants to turn around and say that he's not one of, if not the best goalkeeper in world football, I'm sorry, I don't see Ederson making those type of saves. That gets found wanting in those positions. I don't see Ter Stegen making those type of saves. I don't see Jan Oblak making those type of saves. I always say there's shot stoppers and there's goalkeepers. Alisson Becker is a goalkeeper. He is the complete package. Yeah, he can play out. How many goalkeepers out there, and I'll name one is phenomenally good at it, that catch and hold the ball. A lot of goalkeepers now are taught to parry the ball away. We talk about line of deflection and line of symmetry as a goalkeeper. That's what you're trained as a goalkeeper. But it takes a very special goalkeeper to actually catch and hold the ball. Indigo Martinez is one of those. So Emiliano Martinez is one of those that catch and holds the ball. And he's been worth probably 10 points to Villa since he's been there. Phenomenal goalkeeper.
Yeah. Apart from today. They had a shocker today, didn't they?
Yeah, well,
but no, I agree with from your namesake, James.
You just won the copper, innit? You just won the copper.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with your namesake here, James, in the comments. Alisson doesn't do camera shots either, which means when he does a save like that, it really is really, really special. And it's a really good point because I see, other goalkeepers in the league. If you do fantasy football, guys, you'll see that all the goalkeepers down the bottom end of the table get the most points for the big saves. And of course, they're busier, aren't they? But Alisson's positioning is that good that when there's a shot that's going top corner, he's already there to pretty much just catch it. Whereas actually you'll see anticipation, positioning, awareness. You'll see other goalkeepers of bottom half clubs, maybe to the bottom half of the top half, and they're absolutely scrambling across to that top corner. They'll tip it around the post. Everyone's what a fantastic goalkeeper. And Alisson, I think he's so good that he actually misses out on that kind of praise. So the fact that James is here, when he does pull off a ridiculous save, he's already in the right position and he's still got to stretch and react. And it was almost like cat-like reflexes today, how he kept that one out, which was truly incredible. And you're spot on with celebrating that like a goal, because clean sheets, as Van Dijk says, I love clean sheets, man. They're worth
the same. They're worth the same. They're worth the same.
100%.
I mean, Oliver in the comments here as well. We're setting goal for at least a decade with Ali and Kelleher. Personally, I think again from what I've seen historically, Kelleher is a fantastic goalkeeper with a lot of talent. But guys, don't forget we've got a young Petaluga coming through as well, handpicked by Alisson Becker. Petaluga is an insane goalkeeper. Insane. So we are set for a long period of time, and that's just part of the succession building that's going on at Liverpool Football Club. The new deal as well signifies that at some stage there will be a change on the guard, whether it's Kelleher or whether it's Petaluga, we don't know. But one of those,
I don't think it'll be either. I don't think it'll be either. I think we're bringing a new goalie after Alisson. This is Liverpool Football Club. We don't. These are backup goalies you're talking about here. I mean, look, some of these comments. Alisson's being compared to Ray Clements by Chris, David, aka Stephen, who does all our work, all our thumbnails over on the Red Sea podcast. Alisson is also a goalkeeper in form. I'm feeling confident, which makes such a difference for keepers. His son is also a goalkeeper, Riley, as well. He's a fantastic goalkeeper on the books at Luton Town. Still not saying he isn't a class keeper, but he is a keeper in form and playing with confidence. And that's huge. We saw Alisson last season going for a really difficult time. We made a couple of un-Alisson-like mistakes, and we were like, what's going on here? This guy is the Van Dijk of goalkeepers. So hopefully now, he's got his game head on, he's ready to go. And if he continues to build on this, clean sheets win you league titles. It's not always about the goals. If you keep a clean sheet, you're not losing.
It's proven. Yeah, it's proven. We proved it in a title running with when Alisson Becker joined the club. Following year, we go on and we win the Champions League. Following year after that, we go on and we win the Premier League. It's worth its weight in gold, and I agree with this as well. Live and adventure. Alisson will still be at the club in 6 or 7 years, and SS. Yeah. We don't always agree on everything, but Petaluga is the future. Honestly, Petaluga is the future of Liverpool.
I mean, I've not seen him play a game. Well. I can't say anything on him, but I don't think that you go to get a goalkeeper from the Brazilian league and put him straight in the Liverpool team. Whether we loan him out, Alisson went through International, he went through Roma, and now he's here. Of course, he could be, but I just think that you're not going to see one of the guys at the club right now suddenly become the number one without going off and playing some first team football first. That's all I mean.
Yeah, I agree. Let's be clear. Alisson Becker will be our number one for a very, very, very long time to come. What it does do is it gives Petaluga the opportunity to grow and actually become a top class goalkeeper. You know, you look at a number of different keepers which have taken similar routes. I hate to mention it, but David De Gea, when he was at Atletico Madrid, you know, he came through and done phenomenally well. He then was thrust onto the scene with Manchester United to replace Edwin van der Sar. And as a lover of goalkeepers, arguably one of the best goalkeepers ever, Edwin van der Sar, and a young De Gea had to replace him. Petaluga, you know, is showing all the attributes that it's going to take to become a world-class goalkeeper. And who better to learn from than Alisson Becker, you know, fellow countryman as well.
Absolutely. So 3 points, 3 goals, joint top of the league. It's a good start. We're on to the Burnley match. Everybody's heads are going to be straight onto that game next Saturday with the early kickoff. And I just wanted to run this by you. Obviously, the Burnley midfield, Chris thinks it'll be Fabinho, Milner and Keita. But he also thinks 4 of the 7 subs on the bench are going to be midfielders, which I think is probably not quite going to happen. I can't see Hendo, Thiago Jones and Chamberlain all on the bench. So who misses out in that magnificent 7, if you like, or not so much?
Naby Keita needs to miss out.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, Avi's in the comments saying Naby was boss, which I'm not sure which match he watched.
Avi, I love you, man, but I just can't get with the Naby program. I know you're a big fan of Naby Keita. I just want to see more, but we don't want to labour that point any more than we already have.
No, agreed.
Who starts? If Thiago is anywhere near to fitness, Thiago needs to start because Burnley are going to sit in. We need someone with a bit of craft and a bit of guile to break down that low block, and Burnley are going to do that. They're going to sit in and defend and try and catch on the counter, try and look for corners, throw-ins, anything they can do to disrupt us. You know, Burnley are going to look to do that. So Thiago has to play because he's the type of player that's going to be able to do that if he's anywhere near to full fitness. Jordan Henderson, I think, is probably not quite ready yet. Although you'd love to see Jordan, Fabinho, and Thiago as the midfield 3. I think, do you know what? It pains me to say, but I think Naby will get the nod again. I think Klopp wants to try and play him into a bit of confidence and show a bit of faith in him, which is the right thing to do. You know, you've got a player at the club. He's cost you £60 million. You know, you need to give him the opportunity to prove himself. And whilst he's not been disrupted with injuries over this pre-season, now is the best opportunity to do it, because in his Liverpool career, it's been very stop-start, but only due to injuries. He hasn't been injured right throughout the whole pre-season period. So are we going to class this? Some people will disagree in the comments and say that he performed pretty well today, but these are just my views. I'm prepared to let the 3-0 victory mask today's performance and see him again against Burnley and see if he can make any kind of penetrating runs that we're familiar with Naby Keita to actually draw Burnley out. Because like I said, Burnley are going to sit in. So we need someone to try and create chances.
No, I agree. I think Fabinho definitely starts that game, hands down in the 6th, and he will be there, hopefully, every big game for the rest of the season. I think Milner keeps his place because Klopp trusts him. You know exactly what he's going to get, and he got the whole game today. I think it's Keita or Ox for that 3rd spot in midfield against Burnley. And as we have said, I didn't particularly rate either of them, but Ox was dragged off first, which makes you think that Keita probably impressed Klopp that little bit more, even though he maybe didn't impress us. So that's probably going to be the midfield 3. A couple of other comments to just roll it on a little bit. Just stopping on Diogo Jota. Seriously, how good was Jota from David? His attitude and will to have the ball off anyone is such a quality. It looks like an 8-year-old who wants the ball all the time. Love it. And yeah, I mean, the good thing about that is, before we move on to Oliver's comment, is last season, all we had was that, you know, we always talked about the centre-backs being injured, the midfield playing in defence, but our attack was just so plain and so boring because it was the same 3. Soon as Jota got that injury, it was Firmino, Mane, Salah every week because Shaqiri, Origi weren't good enough. Minamino's moved out on loan. So it was the same 3, and Mane has admitted it was his worst season. Firmino's had much better seasons. So to see Jota back and a front 4 that are going to fit into a front 3, and even the possibility, you know, if we're chasing a goal and it's 0-0, we can have all 4 of them on. And eventually we are going to score. You know, when Thiago comes back in the team, when Henderson comes back in the team, we've got Van Dijk, who's so underrated with his 40-yard ping passes. You know, we missed that last season. Nat Phillips, Reece Williams and Kabak don't have that in their game. So when we need to score a goal this season, which we struggled with so much last time, whether we were 0-0, whether we were 1-0 down at home to a bottom 6 team, look at the options and the chances we are going to create for that front 4 now, right?
Yeah, I know, I agree. And just throwing up a comment from Avi. Literally must be the only 2 that didn't like Naby's performance. Avi, I just think that the Liverpool fan base have been so used to seeing nothing from Naby Keita that anything will do. That's where I feel we're at. Honestly, I feel we're at the point where we're so used to seeing nothing
average
that it's like if he does something, it's like, yeah, great, we've actually got something out of him. Let's not forget we've paid £60 million for this player. £60 million for Naby Keita. That's not a small sum of money. I want more. And again, I love my club. I expect more. That's all I'm saying. It was a bang average performance. The stats you're putting up there are not fantastic stats. They're not great. That's not great. That's not a great output from a £60 million signing. Now, I'm sorry, the fee may he doesn't decide the fee. I get it. He hasn't decided the fee, but the club have paid that money to display some form of trust in him. And so far, over the duration and tenureship of his Liverpool career, he's not repaid the trust. I want more.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the only ones. You've got Paulie in the comments. Naby showed flashes. Too inconsistent, which is what wraps up his entire Liverpool career so far. Looked indecisive too often. And Stephen again, /David, personally not a fan of Naby. He still looks like yard off the pace. Doesn't hold the ball well. But for Klopp, it's clearly like Fred at United. He just seems to get in there on trust. And I just wanted to move it on a little bit. There was a good comment in there from Oliver somewhere. It was just talking about the VAR because obviously, you know, fans are back in the stadium, which was absolutely brilliant to hear. The momentum of Liverpool on the attack, needing a goal, getting a throw, getting a corner, which is something we massively missed last season. But one thing I didn't miss today was VAR. I don't think it was called upon. I think there was a silly little coming together, would you say, with Trent in the Norwich penalty area. And, you know, last season, you'd have been seeing slow motion, 17 different angles, 5 minutes later and probably go pen. But today, you know, they've actually gone backwards almost to go forwards and said, obviously that's not a penalty. Unless it's an obvious foul, an obvious tackle, an obvious mistake, how can you be given silly little penalties? And it was so refreshing to see. You can just actually watch a game of football like you'd watch one in the local park. If someone goes down too easily in the park, down the road, everyone just laughs at them and says, get up. But in the Premier League last season, you were getting a penalty. So how refreshing was it for you to just have a match that we can talk about players' performances, the result, the goals, and VAR is nowhere to be seen?
I totally agree with you. And I feel like with VAR, it was heavily relied upon last season and was used to the nth degree for everything. Every little decision was going to VAR. That's not how football should be. I want to see VAR decide the big decisions, the big ones, you know, the influential decisions that could potentially change the course of a Premier League season. That is what VAR is there for. Good use of the system today. But obviously there's been the rule change where the defender gets a little bit more benefit of the doubt because I think gamesmanship was starting to creep in and become a real figment of essentially of the game. It was becoming the whole thing. We've seen players over time like Cristiano Ronaldo. We look at players like Jack Grealish. He's been brought by Manchester City. One of his core attributes is that he draws free kicks. When did we start buying players because they draw free kicks? And that's no disrespect to Jack Grealish because he's a wonderfully talented football player. But that's one of the things that constantly get spoken about when we're talking about Jack Grealish. Oh, he's so good at drawing free kicks. Now, if you're the team that he plays for, fantastic. If you're the opposition, you're sitting there thinking, "Oh, this diving twat's on the pitch again." Do you know what I mean? And you don't want to go anywhere near him. I just think that it was refreshing with the way that VAR was handled today. We've seen VAR utilised to great effect across Europe, but maybe the Premier League have finally got the message about how to use VAR.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was so refreshing to see. Obviously, we're going to come across VAR at some point this season. That we've got thicker lines. offsides. You know, it was one of them games. I feel that the referee, it was an easy game to referee. One team was clearly better than the other. You know, the Cantwell tackle for me on Jota was shocking. I know that's a yellow card in the rules, but when it's that cynical that it's 100% I'm taking this guy out, I think there needs to be a little bit more into that. But that discussion is definitely for another day. But some really nice comments, guys. We really appreciate you coming along for the ride. We're going to be here all season. Obviously, we've done a few pre-season practices to get going, but tonight is the big one. We're celebrating a win. So vase of flowers. Adam and James are a good duo. Appreciation from deepest darkest Liverpool. So that's really really kind to see. You know, it's a game of opinions, isn't it? We're not always going to agree. Me and James clash 3-4 times a week. Every week, we don't agree with everything.
That's what people see. That's only what people see.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go look through our WhatsApp messages. But guys, if you've not subscribed to us, as I said, we do watch-alongs. We do a transfer show every Tuesday. We've got a tier list series where we're now onto the strikers. So we've gone all the way through the positions. We're now at the strikers. We're going to have to do that in 3 parts. So we're looking to get that back on the road very, very soon. And of course, we'll be doing a Burnley game preview with the Fab Four again. So if you haven't followed the Red Sea Pod, it's right here. If you haven't followed me, it's right here. If you haven't followed James, it's just over here. Head over to the Red Sea Pod on Twitter so you don't miss a video. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well. This has been the Red Sea Pod. Anything else to say before we go, mate?
Yeah, just quickly. Where are we? Joshua. Just quickly, because I don't think we've singled this guy out for any praise. Just really, really quick.
Yeah.
So quick word on Trent. I think Trent was good today. He gets criticised for his defending, and he showed that he can actually defend also. It was good. I don't think it was one of his best performances, but it was industrious. He looked like he was up for it. He put in a solid performance for Liverpool Football Club, and there's nothing less than what you obviously would expect from one of the world's best right backs. And he's an absolute joy to watch. Abby quickly as well.
Which way? I'll leave Abby for another day because we're going to be here forever otherwise. But I think for me, the Trent has raised the bar so high that we expect greatness from him. But I never feel Trent is on the best of his best game without Robertson on the other side. And Samikas had bits in the game. He took some set pieces as well.
I like,
but for me,
I like him.
He's not. He's not bad for a backup left back. But Trent only plays the best of his game when he's got Robertson on the other side. You know, every overhit cross goes to the other one. They're completely in sync up and down those wings. So hopefully Robertson will be back within 2 or 3 weeks, and we can see a full strength Liverpool 11, which I genuinely can't remember the last time we saw in a competitive game. The best first choice 11 all on the pitch at one time. But it's going to be good, guys. Totally. So bring on Burnley. Absolutely, we can't wait to be there. So James, anything else before we go, mate?
No, guys, as I said, if you've not already, please like and subscribe. Head over to the Red Sea Podcast. You catch us over there as well. Look, Abby knows how I feel. SS is a hard man to please, ruthless. I agree. No, guys, if you're not already, please follow us at the Red Sea Podcast on YouTube and on Twitter. Obviously, we've been the Red Sea Podcast full-time for your match reactions over at LFC Daytrippers. We'll be back here after the Burnley game. I may do another little watch-along. Yeah, I may do another little watch-along, and SS will be live from Anfield doing the match reactions as well. So you never know. You might catch you on a watch-along with the Daytrippers, or you might catch you on a watch-along over at the Red Sea Podcast. But I'm sure I'll be active somewhere.
Perfect. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.
See you later.